Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome back to Bets and Buds. We're the Buds helping you cash your bets. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We got an action-filled week this week here with sports that's going on. Things have gone on past week. Things that are coming up. Coming off the NFL draft. We also have baseball is heating up here, getting until a month over into the season now. Playoff hockey is in full swing. NBA basketball is in full swing. So we got a lot to chalk up today.
Yes, we do.
How you doing today, Bobby?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Oh, just lovely, lovely. Weather's finally stopped raining.
Yes.
So we'll see hopefully how long the rain holds off. Hopefully it holds off through the rest of the weekend. So, yeah, because we got the Derby weekend
yes,
here.
Yes, we do.
Along,
I mean, it's probably going to end up raining on Saturday.
Yeah, more than likely.
That muddy track.
But, the mint juleps will be poured. They will be poured for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into a little bit of playoff hockey because that's the most pressing thing here in St. Louis right now.
So we'll start off in the West right now. It's because it's crazy. Every series is 3-2 right now. Every series is 3-2 with the favorite actually winning, or the higher seed winning that, except for the Edmonton-LA one. Yeah. Edmonton actually gets to play for that clinching game at home tonight.
Nice.
So, that Dallas-Colorado series, I mean, exactly what you expect it to be. 3-2 in Dallas's favor right now, but they play in Colorado. Right. So, I mean, you can expect Colorado to probably hold serve and force that one back to Dallas for Game 7. The Knights the Wild are hanging around with the Knights right now.
They're slugging it out with them.
Yes, they are.
It out with them.
Vegas won in overtime the other night, so, I mean, kind of got lucky there. But the Wild, once again, will be at home for Game 6. So they have a chance to extend that one, which... I don't know. Vegas is really just a better team than
they are overall. But, I mean, all you got to do is have one game get stolen by the goalie.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I would expect Vegas to take care of that one. The L.A.-Edmonton series, like I said, and that one's been a shootout. And L.A.'s had some pretty monstrable leads and blown pretty good leads twice.
Yeah, the Oilers are a tough offense to keep held down.
Oh, so I expect Edmonton to take care of that one. And then our St. Louis Blues lost a game last night, or Wednesday night, yes. Did not look good. They didn't look good.
No,
not in that first period. They didn't look very good.
No,
they got into the game. They were lucky to survive that first period down 2-1. And then they tied it up early in the second, but then after that, it was just Winnipeg all day.
It's crazy, the drastic difference between being on the road to being at home, because, I mean, they look like a totally different hockey team when they get up there in Winnipeg.
It really did.
I mean, they look like the same
for all three games.
Yeah, it looks like those first two games. I mean, that's how it looked last night. So.
Well, it's unfortunate. Hopefully Tyler Tucker will be back for Friday night's game, because you could tell Sutter, I mean, he had a good season, and I'm not putting him down at all. We would not be where we're at if we didn't get the 70-plus games that we got out of him. Because he played solid hockey this year, but I think he's like 42 years old.
Right,
the guy's old.
Yeah, Tucker was a big loss because, I mean, he had scored a goal in that game, too.
Yes, he did. So. I mean, this is not Chris Chelios we're talking about. This is Sutter.
Right, exactly.
He's past his prime. I mean, he's a good sixth defenseman, but we've got like three of those on the roster.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So, all right, Blues, pick it up on Friday night. I'm expecting to take this one back to Winnipeg.
And then once you get to Game 7, anything can happen in Game 7.
Because we've seen it. The Blues in 2019 won in Boston.
Yeah,
so
anytime in Game 7.
So over in the East, you've got two teams that have clinched already, and you got the matchup set. Washington beat the Canadians 4-1. Took care of them pretty handily. Now, the Canadians are a good young team, so, I mean, look out for them for the next couple of years. Carolina is the first team in NHL history to win 7 years in a row in the first round. No team had ever done that before, at least advanced to the second round 7 years in a row.
Oh, nice.
So that's gonna be that series, Washington versus Carolina, right there. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I mean,
that's gonna be a hell. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling this could be Washington G. I mean, Tom Wilson is a problem, man. He is.
It's Logan Thompson, the goaltending, that I'm worried about. Young kid. I mean, he's bounced around a little bit, and he found his magic year, I guess.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong; it could happen for Washington, but Thompson would be the one I would worry about in that. Florida moved past the Lightning.
Yep.
In 5 games.
They pretty much own them.
They own them, so that one's over. And then you've got Toronto and Ottawa going to Game 6 in Ottawa. So Toronto had the chance for the sweep. Couldn't get it done.
They find a way to choke it away every year.
Yeah, that's. Every year. But I don't know. With this is Berube we're talking
exactly.
about.
Exactly. So I mean, I think you got the big chief up there.
I would expect them to get it done.
Right.
As far as that goes, I mean, I would expect Toronto to win that series, but I don't be surprised. Ottawa's playing with house money right now.
Right.
So.
And somebody actually equated this. They said the Toronto Maple Leafs are essentially like the Dallas Cowboys in hockey, as far as like because of how big they are up in Toronto.
Won in forever.
I mean, in Canada, they are like the team in Canada that kind of has a focal point around them. They got the most pub. They're in the biggest city. Everything around like surrounds that.
You're not wrong. I would agree with that.
I was like, man, that's probably pretty good analogy. And so that's where there's just that extra added pressure when that spotlight is shining so bright.
Yeah, because I mean that is the media capital of Canada.
Yeah, so, exactly. I mean, that's their New York,
and they haven't won in what.
Since 67.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. 50-something years, 60-something years.
Yeah, they said 1967, I think, was their last cup. Yeah,
that's brutal. All right, so yeah, that's the NHL playoffs. Let's talk a little NBA playoffs.
All right, so we had the Lakers got bounced out last night. Pretty much got bully balled by Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Like, I think Rudy Gobert had like a 2020 game.
Yeah, 2020.
I mean, there was just a dominant performance overall. The Lakers, clearly did not have enough depth. They were undersized.
Yeah.
The NBA, I don't know I can't remember exact reasons why they nixed the Mark Williams trade when they had against Charlotte when they tried to trade out what's his name Dalton Connect. Like they had a rookie and a couple of young players, and they tried to trade off of Mark Williams, and that would have helped them with the size they needed once they brought over Luka. But again, the second time in my lifetime, the NBA nixed the trade with that the Lakers tried to put in, going back to the Chris Paul trade with the Charlotte Hornets New Orleans Hornets years ago. So I don't know the exact ins or outs to why that happened, but you can see clearly they didn't have the size up front. I think they had Jackson Hayes. Was their big man.
Outside of LeBron and Luka, I couldn't tell you.
I mean, they got Austin Reeves. I mean, they were just undersized. I mean, and it was Lakey. I mean, they had the Timberwolves had Julius Randle there. I mean, so it was just all the way around. They were a long, physical, young team that the Lakers just really couldn't keep up with. So then you had the Warriors and the Rockets. So Jimmy Butler is back. They're taking it to the Rockets. I think they only have one more game. I think that's 3-2.
It's 3-2, yep.
Yeah, so that's 3-2. Steph Curry he's a monster when it comes to shooting the basketball. He probably runs. When you add up the miles he probably runs just to get open during the course of a game, he's probably running 20 to 22 miles a game, easy. Because, I mean, he's just constant motion. So to be 37 years old and have that type of shape to fight your way to get open to get that shot. So, I mean, I think the Warriors, the Rockets are a good young team right now. They got what's his name, Emeka Udoka, who became their head coach, who left Boston, who had this little scandal with sleeping with the people in the front office and all that stuff, and so he's down there in Houston right now. Got those boys buzzing. I think the Clippers lost a tough game last night. I believe they
did. Denver's up 3-2.
Yes, Denver's up 3-2. Where you got Joker is fucking coaching the team. He's making a substitute. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life. It's crazy. He's waving people in the game, running down like in the court, basically telling them to go get to the scorer's table because you're coming in next.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, because that's what happens, I guess, when you fire a coach, and the GM 10 to 12 games before the playoffs start. So Joker's pretty much running the team, and let's see how far he can take him.
We bring back the player coach.
Yeah, since Bill Russell, I think, was the last player coach.
Bring back the player coach.
So I mean, that's gonna be an exciting series. And then we have what was the last one?
The Thunder have already moved on.
Yeah, the Thunder have already moved on. That's why I forgot already.
And they'll play the winner of that Denver,
which will be a great series either way it goes, because Kawhi Leonard is back playing basketball at a high level again. James Harden, the beard, is still doing beard things, so he's balling. So I mean, all the way around, I think it's been exciting NBA playoffs. On the West side for sure. The East, they're kind of like in hockey.
Yeah, over in the East, it's pretty much like set in stone already.
Yeah, the only one that we really have left is the Pistons and the Knicks is pretty much the only thing we have left. The Celtics have moved on. Cavs moved on to beat the Heat fairly easily.
Yeah, they'll be playing the Pacers.
Yeah, so the Pacers moved on. Dominating performance against the Bucks there, especially once Dame Lillard went out with that Achilles tear, which was a shame to see that.
Yeah, because that could be a career ender.
Yeah, he's up there in age. I mean, that's when you start to have to ask yourself, You know, do I really want to go through and battle back because the rehab sucks because that's every day. You know, that's every single day you're going through getting scar tissue scraped away and all that other shit, like all the strengthening exercises, small tendons, bones, muscles, everything to support the injury area, especially something like the Achilles because that means it's a very intricate. Used to be back in the day, you tore your Achilles, it was over.
Yeah, it was.
It was over. So at least now,
everybody remembers Dan Marino. And that was like Dan
Marino. I remember when. Who was it? Dominique Wilkins' brother, Gerald Wilkins. He did it, and he tore his Achilles. I mean, he was a good basketball player. He was explosive, wasn't as explosive as Neek, but I mean, he was never the same after that. He made an attempt to come back. I mean, maybe a year and a half, and then it was like that was it.
Now, lately, it's been when you blow one, you blow the other one. You
start compensating, you know, and so you start standing like I have a bad right knee, and I always catch myself sometimes. Like I'll find myself that I'll stand on the left knee a lot more, and so that's the usual. Like the body's gonna always try to protect itself naturally, and I think inevitably that's what's gonna happen. But we're gonna have an exciting second round here because I mean these teams are pretty evenly matched, especially in the West because like the Timberwolves couldn't understand why the Lakers were favored because even though the Lakers were a 3 seed, the Timberwolves at the 6 seed were only one game worse than the Lakers. I mean, like the 1 through 8 was really, really close in the West. I mean, it really was. The disparity between those teams and the talent level really isn't a wide a gap. I mean, outside of maybe OKC because OKC is deep. I mean, they kind of remind me of Florida's team in college basketball this year.
I expect to see them in the conference finals.
I mean, if they don't, I mean, they're going to lose to either like a veteran because both teams, Denver and the Clippers, are very veteran-laden teams. So that's the only reason why I can see them not advancing, just because of how young they are.
And I mean, they both have championships under their belts.
Right, exactly. So. Exactly. So that's the only reason. Well, the Clippers don't, but Kawhi Leonard has individually. Yes, Kawhi has individually. I just meant to because the Clippers were losing.
The Clippers. I always remember the Clippers.
Clippers were always terrible. I mean, always terrible. So so it's gonna be exciting NBA playoffs. Yep. So we gotta roll from there. So next up, we got some St. Louis Cardinal talk here. They lost today against the Reds. They swept the doubleheader yesterday. They're 14-18, 5 games out of first place. We're still a month in the season right now. Usually what I was always told is like once you get to Memorial Day, that's when you know what your team looks like.
Yeah.
That's basically about 2 months
into the season.
You're 2 months into the season.
You play about 30 your games.
Yeah, so you got a chance to see how they go on the run. I like the way they've looked offensively overall.
Yes.
They just don't look like a complete team with as far as the pitching and the pit. I don't feel like they have 5 solid starters, and then the bullpen is very suspect.
Oh, the bullpen's just terrible. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah,
bad.
So I mean, it's very. That's probably the weakest aspect of the ball club, which we talked about in the preseason, probably being a glaring issue.
Now, the other thing is they can't win away on the road right now. They're 4-13 away from home so far this season, and 10-5 at home. But I mean, that's a terrible.
Right? Yeah, that's bad splits. That's bad splits.
And they got 2 of the wins in the last 2
right. Yesterday.
So, yesterday in one day, which was kind of crazy.
Right.
I was looking at some of the stats. Newt Barr has 25 walks on the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's only hitting like 263 right now, but with the 25 walks, his on base percentage is still above 400.
Oh yeah.
Who's the last Cardinal you can think of that drew walks at a pace like he had probably Pujols.
Yeah, Pujols would probably be the last one.
Matt Holliday.
He was not a big walk guy. No, he wasn't a big walk guy.
Goldschmidt wasn't really
not a huge walk guy because he made so much contact.
Right.
So Goldschmidt wasn't. So I'd probably say Pujols is probably the last guy that you see walking at that rate.
The funny thing why I bring up the 25 walks is if you combine the next 2 Cardinals, Scott and Arenado's walks combined, it's still less than the 25.
Oh, I believe that.
20. They come in at 24, but it's just not a prolific walking. Team.
Well, I mean, there's so much premium being put on putting the ball in play and swing rate and the exit velocity and all that stuff. So once you start doing that, like the walks isn't a sexy stat for most people.
No, it's not.
But getting on base is getting on base.
Is being on base.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's always been like a big feather in the cap for Juan Soto.
Yeah,
because he gets on base.
Their next 2 series, they got the Mets coming up this weekend, and then the start of next week they'll be playing the Pirates, both at home. So
speaking of Juan Soto, speaking of the Pirates, did you see that shit last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, a kid fell out the stands.
Oh
man,
yeah,
no,
I didn't see that.
Oh, it was bad.
I didn't watch it on purpose.
Oh, so. I mean, I happened to see it. Like, it came across my Twitter feed, and I mean, I saw it like twice, and I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. I mean, it was a long tumble down. Yeah, I mean, I think the kid survived, but it was pretty bad. I mean, it was pretty bad. So yeah, that was Woo, God.
Good luck to him and his recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. But thankfully, like when you're a young person, you can bounce back pretty good. But I mean, that's still
was it like a young kid.
Fairly. I mean, you couldn't see it from the distance, and I don't want to watch it real close. But I mean, they weren't old. I mean, I don't think they were like in the 20s range by any stretch. You know, so yeah, it was a young one there. I mean, it was a forward full. Yeah, right onto the field too, man. On that Clemente wall that they just had the big controversy over with the because they had the liquor thing that they had took over and placed as the advertisement over the Roberto Clemente wall. Yeah, which I think is like 25 feet up or something crazy like that. So man, oh my God.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, but that's Godspeed. Hopefully everybody will be okay, recover just right, and we just move on to fight another day.
Right. What else you got on there?
All right, so all I got was just kind of a rehash.
Oh, yeah, going over your
recap
your picks,
of the NFL draft, and I don't want to go over all the picks and everything. So out of all the picks that I made for my mock draft last week, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them absolutely correct.
I got 8 on my board.
Which one?
23.
Yeah, I got to go.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, see, he was slid out to the side. Right. So yeah, so the one, the Travis Hunter one, because it wasn't the Browns.
Yeah, but
so that's
still called.
But he was slotted in the slot. Yeah,
he was going there.
Yeah, so I had 8 out of the 32 picks, absolutely correct,
which is not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the draft is a draft. I hate when people give out the draft grades. Because. We don't know.
No,
we
have no idea.
We really don't know until after. I mean, it's usually a couple years into it. So like today we actually marked the 5-year extension period, like the 5-year opt-in, extension for the contract, 5th-year option.
This is the first.
Time you have to have your if you're going to give your player the 5th-year option, then when you first initially drafted them, and that usually goes to the first round picks. Today was the deadline to do that.
Oh, okay.
So I think they said when I was listening to the NFL Network earlier today, they said 1 through 16 usually it's about a 90% clip. That's usually the signs of a good draft. The 90% clip. I think the only one from the draft 5 years ago was Evan Neal from the Giants, the offensive tackle out of Alabama, that didn't get his renewal. And I think I want to say it's like 50% that it drops from 16 to 32. As far as picks, or 17 to 32, as far as the last 16 picks, as far as
they're getting that,
they're going to get that 5th-year option picked up. Because I think the only one that didn't was Trevor Lindenbaum, the center from the Baltimore Ravens, and they said they still want to make a deal work with him because they had to deal with Kyle Hamilton first because he was like a number 4 pick overall. So they had to deal with his contract plus also the other rest of the roster. But they still want to make it work with Lindenbaum somehow moving forward. So
looking at what was the most surprising first round pick, in your opinion.
The most surprise, I mean, you know what? There weren't really a whole lot of surprises, in my opinion, just because of the way this draft kind of fell. Honestly, I couldn't really say there was much of a surprise because the only thing I'd probably say
Stewart maybe going to the Bengals at 17.
Yeah, but I mean, even now it's not a surprise just because they had the whole Trey Hendrickson situation. So with Trey Hendrickson, like that whole situation there, I mean, they had to do something. Like it doesn't surprise me at all. They went defensive end with that pick. So and the reason why I say it's hard to say it's a surprise because once you got past like the first probably 6 or 7 picks, there wasn't really much blue chip that was going on anymore at that point. The rest of it, I mean, all these guys kind of like were slotted as, well, that's comparable. It's basically what I need at this stage, for the game, which is a byproduct, I think, of the NIL, existing right now. That these guys are staying longer, they're making more money. Like poor Quinn Ewers.
Oh yeah,
you see he turned down
millions.
Yeah, he turned down $8 million damn near basically to go. Like he could have got transferred and gone back to college and had one more year. Instead,
he did get drafted. So
yeah, but in the 7th round, that's gonna be a play. Yeah, but I just mean in the 7th round. I mean, hell, he could be living like a king and made $8 million last year.
No, you're not wrong.
He's not gonna make $8 million next year. Get drafted in the 7th round.
He's probably it'll be tough to make.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you got to think. So look at it like this: you're in college, you're the starting quarterback at a major university, and they're paying you $8 million. The life and the joy that you get to have.
Why would you?
As opposed to getting drafted in the 7th round. Now you have to go sit and this is your job now.
Yeah.
It's your job as a college, but nowhere near the same as it is on pros. This is your job now. You're not the big man on campus anymore. He had one more year to live that life for $8 million.
I don't know what he made already. He'd probably at least.
He's one that opted out. He was like one of the first big NIL kids when he went to Ohio State. He opted out early, and left. He left his last year of high school early just to get into Ohio State, just because like that was like the first year of the NIL train. And Quinn Ewers was like one of the first ones we heard is like it being about.
So he made his money. Now he wants to take his crack.
So yeah, I mean he's made him. Yeah, but $8 million, one more season to be big man.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
You know how easy it is to get tailed being the big man on campus quarterback. The nicest of the nicest tail too, Bobby.
Right.
The nicest of the nicest.
I would not know. I was never the big man on campus.
I wasn't, but I did pretty nice in college, man. So I can only imagine being a starting quarterback at USC or Florida or any of those.
Oh, yeah. One of the big Texas.
Like, well, he just left Texas, so he drained that swamp already.
Was it Miami? Was it Miami that offered?
No, because Miami gave all that money to Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a number of places he probably could have gone to, though.
I thought I read somebody, it was that specific team, but I'm not remembering at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he could. There's a number of schools he could have gone to, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Because, you know, at this stage, with the way the landscape is now, I mean, he could have had a hand-picked selection of probably many places. Hell, Notre Dame was looking for a quarterback.
Right.
You know? So basically, I mean, I think it was overall, I like the product of the draft, though, this year because you're like now with the NIL and the way things, even though they had the transfer portal, guys aren't forced to leave early, so we're starting to know a lot of the players.
Oh, yeah, I know more players probably this year.
Than I have in a long time, you know. So we're starting to actually get to know the players again, which was always kind of my biggest thing with the NBA draft because now, like, I mean, I used to, you know, back when the guys stayed till they were juniors, you know.
Yeah,
seniors,
you would watch them.
You watch them grow up, and you kind of see them now. These guys are European guys. They got, like, one-and-done kids that you barely get to know when they get a little stint in college. Then they go out and you go to the NBA draft night, and you're like, who? Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, that's the evolution of sports, baby.
Yep.
All right.
That's all I got, brother.
Yeah, that is all I got. Well, before
one more thing.
We got the Kentucky Derby this weekend.
This weekend.
So journalism is the overall favorite at 3-1 odds.
3-1.
3-1 odds, obviously. I think the biggest long shot, I think the one was a Publisher, I think was at 30-1. There was a couple
30-1?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of horses that were at 30-1. Publisher was one. I think that was like the only horse in that race that they finished second to qualify through the Arkansas Derby, but has not won an actual race.
Really?
Yes.
That doesn't bode well.
Yeah, so that's the only one I got. The Derby's always a big kind of celebration. You know, the women wear the little sundress, tea dress, whatever the hell you want to call it. The big hats are out. Mint juleps are being poured. I think I saw a projection of 122,500 mint juleps will be being poured.
So right now there are 6 horses going off at 30-1.
Yeah.
So,
so pretty wide disparity there.
Right.
So the Derby's always a good time. You know, it's always fun to sit around.
I love watching.
You get all built up for basically about a minute and 50 seconds.
Yep. 2 minutes tops.
They do this all this pageantry all day long for a minute 50 seconds. In my younger days, I always dreamed of wanting to go spend one day out in the infield because the infield is where the party is. They never show the video of the infield. But the infield down on the track level is supposedly the craziest, wildest party you could ever possibly imagine. Very similar to how the Waste Management Open is.
Yeah,
that type of crazy party.
The one in Phoenix.
What?
Better than a Diddy party?
I don't know anything about Diddy parties. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I think those Diddy parties, the Diddy parties only happen after dark, as far as I know. Oh, yeah. And then, so here's one more quick thing. We're going to dive in real fast. So, have you seen on the internet the whole big battle of the 100 humans versus the gorilla?
Yes, I have, and I've seen the simulations.
Yeah, I've been wanting to look up the simulations. I saw one. I was trying to look because they've had several of them out there.
I've seen 2 so far. One, the gorilla kills 65 men before the men get him, and then the other one, the gorilla just dominates them all. So I am of the belief that the gorilla probably would kill every man in sight.
That would be my bet, honestly. Like the only way. Here's what I would say. It would have to be the perfect lineup of the perfect man.
100 of me wouldn't get it done.
Oh, yeah, no, Bobby. 100 of you have been dead like 5 minutes.
100 of me is not getting it done. I know that.
100 of you have been dead for like 5 minutes.
Even 100 of you.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I know.
Tough.
Oh, man, he ripped one of my legs off and shit.
And then beat the next guy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I think if it would depend on who you threw in there. If you got some mixed martial art motherfuckers, some guys like that, some Muay Thai fighters, that type, and guess they got the perfect combination, you might stand a chance. The problem is, man, like he gets a gnashing with those because like you grab him, he starts biting with the teeth.
It's teeth,
clubbing with the clans and claws and like everything else. Then don't give him anything to climb up on and come jumping down on you. Like I mean, it's the only way I think the only chance there would be is if there was. He had this like if you had an arena that he was grounded in, and then like, he couldn't just move. Yeah, like, he just couldn't climb up all over shit and everything else like that. Because once that happens, we're done. Like there's no chance in hell.
He'll grab a body and just
be shaking him up in the fucking top of the fucking cage in the arena and like come get some and stick it down, beating his chest and shit. It's a devastation.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that the gorilla would kill him.
Yeah, I just don't think. I mean, it's a superhuman, basically. It's a human with superpowers, but with hair.
Now, everybody keeps talking about, well, you just got to get 10 around them. 10 really good. Well, who's like? They've all said who's going to be that first motherfucker.
Yeah, because that first wave is dead. I don't care who it is. That first wave is dead.
and then you're breaking wills at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, then you sit there. You got some of your biggest. So you can't send the biggest and baddest in first. You can't. You got to go.
You would need some fodder.
So what I would say is I go through like my first 20. I go find like 20 of the fucking worst criminals that you can find on earth. That say, all right, this is your
bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, but bad motherfuckers that said, this is your chance to get free.
Yeah.
This is your chance to be free. And have those be your first 20. Because if they die, they've already done enough horrible shit to where, like, all right, fuck it.
Sounds like a TV show.
That'd be one hell of a game show, I tell you that. But yeah, I thought that was a fun little topic. It was kind of going around on the internet.
Yeah, I heard that over the last weekend when it hit, and that's some funny shit.
Yeah, that is. It makes you want to see it almost. Though.
Yeah, I'd like to see 100 dudes take on a gorilla. I really would.
It does. It makes you want to see it. All right, but that's all I got for this week, folks.
That's all I got.
All right, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, add to the comment section. Tell me what your opinion is on that fighting that 100-man versus the gorilla. Add that to your comment section on what your thoughts on how that might turn out. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We'll see you next week.
Peace. Yeah.